Have you ever felt confused about learning English? Like you don't know what is better for you, books or videos? Maybe you open a book and your mind feels heavy. The words look difficult. You feel slow. Then you watch a video and it feels easy, but later you forget everything. You feel stuck between two worlds. One feels hard, one feels easy, but both are not giving you the result you want. And slowly, you start thinking, maybe English is not for me. But listen carefully. This confusion is not your weakness. It is your turning point. Because today, you are going to understand something very deep, something very simple, and something that can change the way you learn forever. Comment if you've ever felt this way. By the end of this video, you will not just choose between books and videos. You will understand how to use both. Like a smart learner, like a confident English speaker, like someone who is finally moving forward. Chapter 1. The Confused Learner. There was a time when I felt exactly like you. I remember sitting with a book in my hands. The room was quiet, everything was calm. But inside my mind, there was noise. So much noise. I looked at the sentences, but they did not feel alive. They were just words. Cold, silent, distant. I tried to read them again and again, but my heart was not there. My mind was tired. And slowly, I closed the book and said to myself, "This is too hard." Then I opened my phone. I clicked on a video, and suddenly everything changed. There was sound. There was emotion. There was a human voice. I could hear the words. I could feel the meaning. And for a moment, I felt happy. I felt like I was learning. But after the video ended, something strange happened. I could not remember much. It felt like water slipping through my hands. Easy to watch, but hard to keep. And this is where many learners stay stuck. Maybe this is where you are right now. You move between books and videos. One feels heavy, one feels light, one feels slow, one feels fast. And you think the problem is the method. You think maybe books are bad, or maybe videos are not enough. But the truth is deeper than that. The real problem is not books or videos. The real problem is confusion. And confusion kills confidence. When you are confused, you do not trust your path. When you do not trust your path, you stop moving. And when you stop moving, you start feeling lost. But here is something powerful I want you to understand. You are not a bad learner. You are just an untrained learner. Nobody taught you how to use books. Nobody taught you how to use videos. You were just told, read this or watch that. But nobody showed you how your brain learns. Felt what? And this is the moment everything begins to change. Because today, you are not just watching a video. You are starting a new journey. A journey where you stop guessing and start understanding. Think about this. A child does not choose between books and videos. A child listens, watches, repeats, feels, plays, learns naturally. But we make learning complicated. We overthink. We compare. We doubt. And slowly, we forget how simple learning can be. Here is a truth that might surprise you. Books are not boring. Videos are not magical. The power is not in the tool. The power is in how you use it. Let me say that again because this can change everything for you. The power is not in the book. The power is not in the video. The power is in you. And when you understand this, something beautiful starts to happen. You stop blaming the method. You stop running from one thing to another. You start taking control. But I know what you are thinking right now. You might be saying, okay, I understand this, but still, which one is better? And that is a fair question. A very real question. Because you want clarity. You want a clear path. You want something that works. And don't worry, we are going to answer that. But not in a simple way like books are better or videos are better. No, we are going to go deeper. We are going to understand why each one feels the way it feels. We are going to understand your brain, your emotions, your habits. Because once you understand these things, you will never feel confused again. Here is your first small shift. Stop asking, which is better? Start asking, how can I use both better? That one question can change your entire journey because the goal is not to choose a side. The goal is to build a system, a simple, powerful system that works for you. And in the next chapters, we are going to build that system together, step by step, slowly, clearly, in a way that feels easy but works deeply. So stay with me, because this is not just about books or videos. This is about becoming a learner who finally understands what they are doing. And once you understand, you don't stop. You grow. You improve. You become unstoppable. Now tell me, are you ready to see the truth behind books and videos? Chapter 2. Why videos feel easy, but don't always stay. There is a reason why videos feel so easy to you. It is not because videos are better. It is because your brain loves comfort. Your brain loves things that move, things that speak, things that feel alive. When you watch a video, you are not just reading words. You are hearing a voice. You are seeing expressions. You are feeling emotion. It feels like someone is talking to you. It feels natural. It feels simple. And for a moment, you feel smart. You feel like you understand everything. But here is the hidden truth. Understanding something in the moment is not the same as learning it deeply. This is where many learners get trapped. They watch a video and say, I understand this. But after some time, when they try to speak, the words are gone. The confidence is gone. The feeling is gone. And they feel confused again. This is not your fault. This is how the brain works. When you watch a video, your brain is in a passive state. That means you are receiving information, but you are not working hard to create it. It is like watching someone swim. You understand swimming. You see how it works. But when you enter the water, your body does not know what to do, because watching is not doing. This is the first big truth you must accept. Videos make you feel like you are learning, but sometimes you are only watching. And this is dangerous, because feeling like you are learning can stop you from actually learning. Let me share something simple but powerful. Think about the last video you watched in English. Maybe it felt easy, maybe you enjoyed it. But now, try to say 3 sentences from that video. Not one word, not one idea, 3 full sentences. Can you do it? If the answer is no, then you understand the problem. Videos give you clarity in the moment, but they do not always give you control. And English is not about understanding only. English is about control. It is about using words. It is about speaking, thinking, expressing. Here is a retention moment I want you to feel deeply. Easy learning feels good, but real learning feels a little uncomfortable. This is why videos alone are not enough. But wait, don't misunderstand me. Videos are powerful, very powerful. They are one of the best tools you can use, but only when you use them the right way. Most learners use videos like entertainment. They watch and move on. Watch and forget. Watch and scroll. And this habit creates a cycle, a loop. You feel good for a few minutes, and then you are back to zero. But what if I tell you that one video, just one video, can change your English completely if you use it correctly? Now your mind becomes curious. Now you are thinking, how? And that is the shift we need. The problem is not videos. The problem is how you watch them. Instead of watching like a viewer, you must watch like a learner. When you watch like a learner, everything changes. You pause. You repeat. You speak. You feel the sentence. You copy the sound. You slow down. You don't run away from the video. You stay with it. You live inside it. Imagine this. You watch a simple English sentence. I wake up early every day. A normal viewer hears it and moves on. But a real learner stops, repeats, says it again, changes it. I wake up late. I wake up at 7. I wake up and drink water. Now the sentence becomes yours. This is how videos become powerful. Let me give you another deep truth. Speed is the enemy of learning. And videos are fast. They move quickly. They give you too much information. Your brain feels full, but not strong. It is like eating too much food without digestion. You feel heavy, but not healthy. So what should you do? You slow down. You take one sentence and you make it your sentence. This is the secret that most learners never discover. You don't need more videos. You need deeper connection with fewer videos. And when you do this, something amazing happens. You start remembering. You start speaking. You start feeling confident. Because now, you are not just watching English. You are using English. Here is another powerful line. Watching gives you ideas, but speaking gives you power. And your goal is power. Your goal is to speak without fear, to think without stopping, to express without doubt. Videos can help you reach this, but only if you stop being passive. Let me tell you something honestly. Many learners watch English videos every day for months, even years, but they still cannot speak confidently, not because they are weak, not because they are lazy, but because they never changed their method. They watched, but they never practiced. They understood, but they never used. And this is the difference between a viewer and a learner. A viewer feels good. A learner becomes good. So now I ask you, which one do you want to be? If you choose to become a learner, then videos will stop being your comfort and start becoming your tool. And in the next chapter, we will explore the other side. The side that many people fear. The side that feels slow, but builds something strong. Books. Stay with me. Because now, things are about to become even more interesting. Chapter 3. Why books feel hard, but build you strong. Now let us walk into the world that many learners try to avoid. Books. Just hearing this word can make you feel a little heavy inside. You imagine long sentences. You imagine difficult words. You imagine sitting alone, feeling slow, feeling tired, maybe even feeling bored. And because of this feeling, many people close the book before they even start. They say, "This is not for me." They say, "I am not ready." They say, "I need something easier." But listen carefully. This feeling is not a sign to stop. This feeling is a sign that something important is happening. Books feel hard because they ask something from you. They ask your attention. They ask your effort. They ask your patience. When you open a book, there is no voice to guide you. There is no movement to entertain you. It is just you and the words. And in that quiet space, your brain has to work. It has to imagine. It has to connect. It has to understand. And this is exactly why books are powerful. Because when your brain works harder, it becomes stronger. Let me share a simple truth that many learners never hear. Difficulty is not your enemy. Difficulty is your teacher. When something feels easy, your brain relaxes. It says, "This is fine. No need to grow." But when something feels a little hard, your brain wakes up. It says, "I need to focus. I need to improve." And that is the moment learning begins. Think about the first time you tried to read English. Maybe you read one sentence and you stopped. You did not understand everything. You felt slow. You felt confused. And maybe you compared yourself with others. You thought, why is this so hard for me? But what you did not see was this. In that moment, your brain was building new connections. Slowly, quietly, deeply. Here is a powerful line I want you to remember. What feels slow is often what stays forever. Books slow you down. And that is their hidden strength. When you read a sentence, you stay with it. You look at each word. You try to understand the meaning. You may read it again and again. And without knowing, you are creating a deep memory. A strong memory. A memory that does not disappear quickly. This is very different from videos. Videos move fast. Books move with you. Books wait for you. They give you time to think, time to feel, time to connect. And this is where real learning begins. But I understand your fear. I understand your struggle. Because when you open a book, you feel alone. There is no teacher, no voice, no support, and this can feel uncomfortable. But let me change your perspective. You are not alone when you read a book. The writer is with you. Every sentence is a voice. Every word is a message. And when you read slowly, carefully, you begin to hear that voice. You begin to feel the meaning. You begin to connect. Reading is not just about words. Reading is about building a relationship with language, and relationships take time. Let me give you a simple example. You read a sentence, "She walked into the room and smiled." It looks simple. But when you read it slowly, you start to see more. You imagine the person. You imagine the room. You feel the smile. Now the sentence is not just words. It is a picture. It is a feeling. It is alive. This is the magic of books. They do not give you everything. They make you create everything. And when you create, you remember. Here is another strong truth. Reading trains your mind to think in English. When you watch a video, you hear English. But when you read, you build English inside your mind. You create sentences. You understand structure. You feel how language works. This is deep learning. This is powerful learning. But yes, it feels slow. And that is why most people quit. They want fast results. They want quick success. They want easy learning. But real growth does not happen in speed. It happens in depth. Let me give you a retention moment that can change your mindset. Fast learning makes you feel smart. Slow learning makes you become smart. So when you feel slow while reading, don't feel weak. Feel proud, because you are doing something real. Now let me tell you something very important. You do not need to read difficult books. You do not need to understand every word. You do not need to be perfect. You just need to start. Start with simple sentences. Start with easy stories. Start with something you enjoy. Because when you enjoy reading, you stay longer. And when you stay longer, you learn deeper. And here is the secret that many learners never discover. Reading gives you control over language. You start understanding how sentences are made. You start seeing patterns. You start feeling confidence. And slowly, you begin to think in English. Not because someone is speaking to you, but because you are speaking to yourself. This is powerful. This is transformation. Many learners are afraid of books. But the truth is, books are not your enemy. Books are your training ground. They are shaping your mind. They are building your strength. They are preparing you for real communication. So next time you feel that fear, that heaviness, that slow feeling, don't run away. Stay, because on the other side of that difficulty, there is growth. And in the next chapter, we will bring these two worlds together. Books and videos. Not as enemies, but as partners. Because the real answer is not choosing one. The real answer is learning how to use both. Now tell me, are you ready to unlock that secret? Chapter 4, The Real Secret. It's not books versus videos. Now we come to the truth that most learners never discover. And when they do, everything changes. You have been asking, which is better, books or videos? But this question is not complete. This question is keeping you stuck because it makes you choose a side. It makes you think one must win and one must lose. But learning English is not a competition between tools. It is a journey of building yourself. And here is the real secret. It is not books versus videos. It is books and videos. Let that sink into your mind slowly. You do not need to fight between them. You need to understand them. You need to use them together. Like two hands working for the same goal. Like two wings helping you fly. This is the shift that separates average learners from powerful learners. Average learners jump from one method to another. Today they say, I will only watch videos. Tomorrow they say, no, I will only read books. And every time they switch, they start again. They lose time. They lose confidence. They lose direction. But strong learners do something different. They build a system. A simple system where each tool has a purpose. Let me show you something very simple but very powerful. Videos help you feel English. Books help you build English. Videos give you sound, emotion, and flow. They help you understand how real people speak. They make English alive. Books give you structure, clarity, and depth. They help you understand how sentences are made. They make English stable. Now imagine this. You only watch videos. You feel English, but you don't control it. You understand, but you cannot create. Now imagine this. You only read books. You understand structure, but you feel slow. You know words, but you struggle to speak. Both are incomplete. But when you combine them, something powerful happens. You feel English, and you build English. You understand, and you create. You listen, and you think. This is where real growth begins. Let me give you a simple story. Imagine two learners. One only watches videos every day. The other only reads books every day. After 1 month, both feel something is missing. One feels fast but empty. The other feels deep but slow. Now imagine a third learner. This learner watches one small video, slowly, then reads a few lines from a simple book, then speaks a few sentences. Not perfect, not fast, but consistent. After 1 month, this learner is different. This learner is not confused. This learner is growing. Because this learner is not choosing a tool. This learner is building a system. Here is a powerful line I want you to remember. Tools do not create results. Systems create results. And now you are ready to build your system. But wait, I know your mind is asking something important right now. You are thinking, okay, I understand this, but how do I use both together? That question is beautiful. Because now you are not confused. Now you are curious. And curiosity is the beginning of mastery. Let me guide you slowly. You start with a video. A short, simple video. Not fast, not complex. You watch it once, just to feel it. Just to understand the idea. No pressure. Then you watch it again. But this time, you pause. You repeat. You speak. You copy the sound. You take one sentence and you make it yours. Now your brain is active. Now you are not just watching. You are learning. Then you move to a book. A simple book. A small paragraph. You read slowly. You don't rush. You don't try to understand everything. You just connect. You feel the sentence. You notice the structure. Now something magical happens. The sentence you saw in the video and the sentence you read in the book start connecting in your mind. And this connection is powerful because this is how your brain builds language, through repetition, through connection, through use. Here is another retention moment. Learning is not about more input. It is about deeper connection. You don't need 10 videos. You don't need 10 books. You need one video and one page, used deeply. And when you do this every day, slowly, patiently, your English starts changing. Not in one day, not in one week, but in a way that stays. This is real progress. This is real confidence. Let me tell you something honestly. The biggest mistake learners make is not choosing the wrong method. The biggest mistake is expecting fast results without deep work. But now, you are different. Now you understand something most people don't. You understand that learning English is not about choosing the easiest path. It is about choosing the smartest path. And the smartest path is balance. Balance between listening and reading. Balance between feeling and thinking. Balance between speed and depth. And when you find this balance, something changes inside you. You stop feeling lost. You stop feeling confused. You start feeling in control. And that feeling, that quiet confidence, is the beginning of fluency. So don't ask again, which is better. Ask, how can I use both better? Because now you know the truth. Books and videos are not your enemies. They are your team. And in the next chapter, we will go even deeper. We will see how your brain learns and why some methods work better than others. Because once you understand your brain, you will understand everything. Now tell me, are you ready to go deeper? Chapter 5. How your brain really learns English. Now we go deeper. Deeper than books. Deeper than videos. Into something that controls everything you learn. Your brain. Because once you understand how your brain learns, everything becomes clear. You stop guessing. You stop wasting time. You stop feeling lost. And you start learning in a way that actually works. Let me tell you something very simple, but very powerful. Your brain does not learn English by watching or reading only. Your brain learns English by connection and repetition. Yes, connection and repetition. When you see a word again and again, in different places, your brain starts saying, "This is important." When you hear a sentence again and again, your brain starts remembering the pattern, and slowly, without pressure, without force, it becomes a part of you. But here is the problem. Most learners break this process. They watch one video today, another video tomorrow, a different topic next day, and then a random book. There is no connection. There is no repetition. There is only noise. And when your brain receives noise, it becomes tired. This is why you feel like you are learning, but not improving. Let me give you a simple image. Imagine your brain like a garden. If you throw seeds everywhere, without care, without water, nothing grows. But if you plant one seed, water it every day, give it sunlight, it grows strong. Your English is the same. You don't need more content. You need more connection with the same content. This is the shift. This is the secret. Let me say something that might surprise you. You can become better in English with just one video and one page. If you use them again and again, now your mind is thinking, really? Yes. Really? Because learning is not about new information. Learning is about making information yours. Let me explain in a very simple way. First, your brain listens or reads. This is input. Then, your brain understands a little. Not everything, just a little. Then, your brain needs repetition. Without repetition, the memory becomes weak. And finally, your brain needs use. You must speak. You must think. You must create. This is the full cycle. Input, understanding, repetition, use. But most learners stop at step 1. They watch, they read, and then they move on. They never repeat. They never use. And that is why progress feels slow. Here is a powerful line I want you to remember forever. If you don't use it, you lose it. Now let's connect this with books and videos. Videos give you strong input. They help you understand faster. Books give you slower input, but deeper understanding. But both are useless if you don't repeat and use. This is where your power comes. Let me show you how your brain changes with the right method. You watch a short video. You hear a sentence, "I feel tired today." Simple. Easy. Now you don't move on. You stay. You repeat it. I feel tired today. Again, I feel tired today. Now you change it. I feel happy today. I feel strong today. I feel ready today. Now you go to your book. You see a sentence. He feels tired after work. Now your brain connects. Feel, feels, tired. Now something magical is happening. Your brain is building a network. Not just one sentence. A group of sentences. A pattern, a feeling. And this is how language grows inside you. Slowly, but strongly. Here is another deep truth. Your brain loves patterns, not rules. You don't need to remember grammar rules like a machine. You need to feel patterns like a human. And books and videos together help you see these patterns again and again. This is why combination works. This is why system works. This is why random learning fails. Let me give you a retention moment that can change your mindset forever. You don't become fluent by learning more. You become fluent by repeating better. Think about that. Not more. Better. Now I want you to reflect on your own learning. Do you repeat? Or do you just move on? Do you use sentences? Or do you just understand them? Be honest with yourself, because honesty is the first step to growth. If you want real progress, you must slow down. You must stay longer with one idea. You must repeat without feeling bored, because repetition is not boring. Repetition is power. Let me tell you something important. Every fluent speaker you see, every confident speaker you admire, they have repeated thousands of sentences, not in one day, not in 1 week, but over time. They didn't rush. They stayed. And now, they speak. You can do the same. You don't need to be special. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be consistent. And now you understand something very deep. Your brain is not your enemy. Your brain is your partner, but you must train it the right way. Give it connection. Give it repetition. Give it use. And it will give you fluency. In the next chapter, we will move from understanding to action. We will see how to create a simple daily routine using books and videos. A routine that is easy but powerful, because knowledge is not enough. You need a system you can follow every day. Now tell me, are you ready to take action? Chapter 6. A simple daily routine that actually works. Now everything becomes real. Until now, you have understood ideas. You have seen the truth about books and videos. You have understood your brain. But now comes the most important part. Action. Because understanding without action feels good, but changes nothing. And your goal is not to feel good for a moment. Your goal is to grow every day. So let me give you something simple, not complicated, not heavy. A routine you can follow even on your worst day. A routine that uses books and videos together. A routine that respects your brain. A routine that builds real English inside you. But before I share it, I want you to remember one thing. This routine is not magic. It will not change your English in one day. But if you follow it every day, slowly, honestly, it will change you in a way that stays. Now imagine your day. Maybe you are busy. Maybe you have work. Maybe you have school. Maybe you feel tired. That's okay. This routine is made for real life, not perfect life. You start with just 10 to 15 minutes. Yes, just 10 to 15 minutes. Because small steps done daily are more powerful than big steps done once. First, you open a short video. Not long, not complex. Something simple. 1 to 3 minutes. You watch it once. Just watch. No pressure, no stress. Just understand the idea. Feel the sound, feel the flow. Now comes the shift. You watch it again, but this time you are active. You pause, you repeat, you speak with the video, not perfectly, not fast, just honestly. Even if your voice is slow, even if you make mistakes, you stay. Take one sentence, just one, and repeat it 3 to 5 times. Then change it. Make your own version. Play with it. This is your first step. Now your brain is awake. Now you move to reading. You open a simple book. Not a big one. not a difficult one. Just a small paragraph, maybe 5 lines, maybe 10 lines. You read slowly. You don't rush. You don't try to understand every word. You just stay with the sentence. You feel it. If you don't understand something, it's okay. You keep going. Now something beautiful happens. You start seeing patterns. The sentence from the video and the sentence from the book start connecting. And this connection is your real teacher. Now comes the most important step. You speak. Yes, you speak. Even if you are alone, even if you feel strange, even if your voice is not perfect, you speak. You take the sentence you learned and you say it in your own way. I wake up early. I feel happy. I go to work. Simple sentences. Small sentences, but powerful sentences. Because you are not just learning English, you are using English. And this is where confidence begins. Here is a powerful line I want you to remember. Confidence does not come from watching. It comes from using. Now let me show you the full routine again, in a simple flow. You watch. You repeat. You read. You connect. You speak. That's it. Simple, but powerful. Now I know what you might be thinking. This looks easy, but will it really work? And the answer is yes. Not because it is easy, but because it is consistent. Let me tell you something honestly. Most learners fail not because the method is bad. They fail because they don't stay with one method. They change every week. They try something new every day. And because of this, their brain never gets time to build strong connections. But you are different now. You have a system, and this system is simple enough to follow and powerful enough to change you. Let me give you a retention moment that can stay with you forever. You don't need more time. You need more focus. 10 minutes of deep practice is better than 1 hour of random watching. Think about that. Now imagine yourself after 1 week of this routine. You feel a little more comfortable. You remember some sentences. You speak a little more. After 1 month, you feel different. Your fear is less. Your words are clearer. After 3 months, people start noticing. You are not perfect, but you are confident. And that is the real goal. Not perfection, confidence. Because when you are confident, you keep going. And when you keep going, you improve. Let me also say something important. Some days, you will feel tired. Some days, you will not want to do this. Some days, your mind will say, skip today, but don't stop. Even if you do just 5 minutes, do it. Because consistency is stronger than motivation. Motivation comes and goes, but consistency builds your future. And now, you are not just a learner, you are a builder. You are building your English, day by day, sentence by sentence. And in the next chapter, we will talk about something very important. Mistakes, fear, and why many learners stop speaking even when they know words. Because understanding is one step. Speaking without fear is the real breakthrough. Now tell me, are you ready to break that fear? Chapter 7. The fear that stops you from speaking. Now we arrive at something very real, something very human, something almost every learner feels, but very few talk about openly. Fear. Not the fear of books, not the fear of videos, but the fear of speaking. The fear that comes quietly, but controls everything. You learn words, you watch videos, you read sentences, you understand ideas. But when the moment comes to speak, your mind freezes. Your heart beats faster. Your voice becomes weak. And inside, a small voice says, what if I make a mistake? This is the moment many learners stop, not because they don't know English, but because they are afraid to use it. Let me tell you something honestly. This fear is not a sign that you are weak. This fear is a sign that you care. You care about how you sound. You care about what others think. You care about doing it right. But here is the problem. When you care too much about being perfect, you stop being real. And language is not about perfection. Language is about expression. Think about a child learning to speak. The child makes mistakes, many mistakes. But the child keeps speaking. The child laughs, tries again, learns slowly. And nobody tells the child, wait until you are perfect. The child grows by using language, not by waiting. But you, somewhere in your journey, you learned to fear mistakes. Maybe someone laughed at you. Maybe someone corrected you in a harsh way. Maybe you compared yourself with others. And slowly, you started thinking, I should not speak until I am ready. But listen carefully. This is one of the biggest lies in learning English. You will never feel ready. You become ready by speaking. Let me say that again, because this can change your life. You do not speak because you are ready. You become ready because you speak. This is the truth that strong learners understand. Now I want you to imagine something simple. You are alone in your room. No one is watching you. No one is judging you. Just you and your voice. Now say a simple sentence. I feel happy today. It feels small, but something inside you moves. Now say another. I am learning English. Now another. I will not stop. These are simple sentences, but they are powerful because you are using your voice. And your voice is your bridge. Without your voice, English stays in your mind. With your voice, English becomes your skill. Here is a powerful retention moment. Silent learning builds knowledge, but speaking builds courage. And courage is what you need. Let me tell you something very real. Many learners wait for confidence before they speak, but confidence comes after speaking, not before. So if you keep waiting, you stay silent. If you start speaking, you start growing. Now you might say, but what if I make mistakes? Let me answer that clearly. You will make mistakes. Everyone does. Even fluent speakers make mistakes. But mistakes are not your enemy. Mistakes are your feedback. When you make a mistake, your brain learns. It adjusts. It improves. But when you stay silent, your brain stays the same. So the real question is not, will you make mistakes? The real question is, will you learn from them or run from them? And this is where your mindset changes everything. Instead of saying, I am afraid of mistakes, say, I am using mistakes to grow. This small shift changes your entire journey. Now let me connect this with books and videos. Videos give you examples of speaking. They show you how language sounds. Books give you structure. They show you how sentences are made. But speaking is where everything comes together. If you only watch and read, your English stays passive. If you speak, your English becomes active. And active English is real English. Let me give you something practical. After your daily routine, after watching and reading, take just 2 minutes. Stand or sit comfortably and speak. Not perfectly, not fast, just honestly. Talk about your day. Talk about your feelings. Talk about what you learned. Even if your sentences are small. Even if you repeat yourself. Even if you stop and think. Stay with it. Because in that moment, you are breaking your fear. And every time you do this, the fear becomes smaller. And your confidence becomes bigger. Slowly. Naturally. Powerfully. Let me share another deep truth. Fear does not disappear when you wait. Fear disappears when you act. So don't wait. Act. Speak. Use your voice, even if it feels uncomfortable, because on the other side of that discomfort, there is freedom. Freedom to express. Freedom to communicate. Freedom to be yourself in another language. And that is a beautiful feeling. In the next chapter, we will go even deeper into something that can change your speed. Thinking in English. Because when you stop translating, everything becomes faster, easier, more natural. But first, you must break the fear. And now, you have the power to do it. So tell me, will you speak today? Chapter 8. Stop translating, start thinking in English. Now we reach a moment that can change everything for you. Not slowly, but deeply. Because there is one habit that keeps many learners stuck, even after months or years of practice. And that habit is translation. You hear something in English, and your mind quickly runs to your first language. You want to understand every word. You want to feel safe. But in this process, something important is lost. Speed, flow, confidence. Let me ask you something simple. When someone speaks English to you, do you first understand in your own language and then answer in English? If yes, then you are not alone. Almost every learner does this. It feels natural. It feels correct. But it is also the biggest reason you feel slow when you speak. Because your brain is doing extra work. First, it hears English. Then it translates. Then it thinks of an answer. Then it translates again. Then it speaks. And in this long process, your confidence drops. Your speed breaks. Your mind becomes tired. And you start thinking, why is speaking so hard? But here is the truth. Speaking is not hard. Translation is making it hard. Now I want you to imagine something different. Imagine you hear a simple sentence. I am tired. And instead of translating, you just feel it. You connect it with your own feeling. You say it directly. I am tired. No translation, no delay, just expression. This is thinking in English, and this is the moment everything becomes easier. Let me give you a powerful line. Translation slows you down. Connection speeds you up. Your goal is not to convert language. Your goal is to feel language. Think about a child again. A child does not translate. A child connects words with feelings, actions, and experiences. When a child hears water, the child does not think of another language. The child thinks of drinking, of thirst, of feeling. This is direct connection. And this is how your brain learns faster. Now you might say, but how can I stop translating? It happens automatically. That is a very honest question. And the answer is simple, but it needs practice. You don't stop translating in one day. You slowly replace it. Let me show you how. When you learn a new word, don't connect it with your language. Connect it with a picture. Connect it with a feeling. Connect it with a situation. For example, the word hungry. Don't think of it in your language. Think of your stomach. Think of the feeling. Think of food. Now the word becomes alive. Now take a sentence. I am hungry. Say it when you feel it. Use it in real life. Now your brain connects the sentence with your life, not with translation. This is powerful. Now let's connect this with your routine. When you watch a video, don't try to translate every word. Just understand the idea, feel the message. Let the meaning come naturally. When you read a book, don't stop at every difficult word. Keep going. Try to understand the sentence as a whole. And when you speak, don't think in your language first. Start small. Use simple sentences. Let your English grow step by step. Here is a retention moment I want you to feel deeply. You don't need perfect English to think in English. You need simple English. Many learners wait to become advanced before they stop translating, but that is the wrong way. You start thinking in English with simple sentences. I am happy. I feel tired. I go to work. Small sentences, big power, because now your brain is learning directly. Let me tell you something honestly. The day you start thinking in English, even a little, your journey becomes easier. You feel faster. You feel lighter. You feel more confident. Because now, English is not something outside you. It is something inside you, and this changes everything. But remember, this is a process. Some days you will translate. Some days you will think directly. That's okay. Don't fight your brain. Train your brain. Give it simple input. Give it repetition, give it use, and slowly, it will change. Just like everything else. Let me share one more truth. You don't become fluent when you know more words. You become fluent when your words come faster, and speed comes from thinking directly, not translating. So from today, make a small decision. Use simple English in your mind. Talk to yourself. Describe your actions. Feel your sentences. And slowly, your brain will follow. In the next chapter, we will go even deeper into something very powerful. How to use your daily life as your classroom. Because English is not just in books, and not just in videos. It is everywhere. And when you learn to see it, you never stop learning. Now tell me, are you ready to think in English? Chapter 9. Turn your daily life into your English classroom. Now something very exciting begins to happen. Until now, you were thinking that English lives inside books or inside videos. You believed that learning happens only when you sit down, open something, and study. But now, your world is about to change. Because the real classroom is not your table. It is your life. Yes, your daily life. Everything you do, everything you see, everything you feel can become English. And when this shift happens, learning becomes natural. It becomes easy. It becomes a part of you. Let me show you what I mean. You wake up in the morning. Usually, you just wake up and start your day. But now, you add one small thing. You speak one sentence. I wake up. Simple. Small. But powerful. You go to the bathroom. You say, I brush my teeth. You go to the kitchen. I drink water. I eat breakfast. These are not big sentences. They are not perfect sentences. But they are real sentences. And real sentences are the strongest. Now something beautiful is happening. You are not learning English. You are living English. This is the moment where everything changes. Because when English becomes part of your daily actions, it stops feeling like a subject. It starts feeling like your language. Let me give you a powerful line. If you only study English, you forget it. If you live English, you become it. Now think about your day again. You walk outside. You see people. You see cars. You see shops. Now your mind starts describing. I see a car. The road is busy. The weather is hot. You are not trying to be perfect. You are just observing. And observation builds language, because now your brain is active. Now you are thinking. Now you are connecting. This is very different from just watching a video or reading a book, because here, you are creating your own English. And when you create, you remember. Let me tell you something honestly. Many learners think they need more content, more videos, more books, but the truth is they need more use. Because English is not just input, English is action. Now let's connect this with your routine again. You watch a video, you learn a sentence, I feel tired today. Now you go into your day, and when you feel tired, you say it, I feel tired today. Now the sentence becomes real. Now you read a line in your book, she is walking slowly. Later, you see someone walking, and your mind says, he is walking slowly. Now the sentence becomes alive. This is the connection between learning and life. And this connection is your greatest power. Here is a retention moment I want you to feel deeply. The more you use English in your life, the less you forget it. Because now, English is not something you practice once a day. It is something you use all day. Let me also tell you something important. You don't need perfect grammar to do this. You don't need big vocabulary. You just need simple sentences. Because simple English used daily is more powerful than complex English used rarely. This is the truth that most learners miss. They try to learn big words, but they don't use small words. They try to sound smart, but they don't speak consistently. But you are building something different. You are building a habit. a habit of thinking, a habit of speaking, a habit of connecting English with your real life. And habits are stronger than motivation, because motivation comes and goes, but habits stay. Now imagine yourself after a few weeks of doing this. You wake up, and your mind naturally speaks English. You walk, and you describe things. You feel something, and you express it. You are not forcing it anymore. It is happening. And that is the moment where you realize you are changing. Slowly, but deeply. Let me give you another truth. Fluency is not a big moment. It is many small moments. Moments when you speak without fear. Moments when you understand without translating. Moments when you express without thinking too much. And all these moments come from daily use. So don't wait for a perfect time. Don't wait for a perfect environment. Use what you have. Use your day. Use your life. Because your life is your biggest classroom. And the best part is, this classroom is always open. No cost, no pressure, just you and your growth. In the next chapter, we will talk about something very important: consistency, why some people start strong but stop early, and how you can stay on this journey even when you feel tired or bored. Because starting is easy. Continuing, that is where real success is built. Now tell me, are you ready to make your life your classroom? Chapter 10, Why Most People Quit, and How You Keep Going. Now we come to a truth that many people don't like to hear, but it can save your journey. Most people don't fail because English is hard. Most people fail because they stop. They start with energy. They feel excited. They watch videos. They read books. They make plans. They feel motivated. For a few days, maybe for a few weeks, everything feels good. But then something changes. Life becomes busy. Energy becomes low. The routine breaks. One day they skip, then another day. Then they say, I will start again tomorrow. And slowly, tomorrow never comes. This is the moment where most learners disappear, not because they are weak, not because they are not smart, but because they did not understand one simple truth. Consistency is more important than intensity. Let me explain this in a very simple way. Imagine two learners. One learner studies for 2 hours in one day, and then stops for 5 days. The other learner studies for 10 minutes every day, without stopping. After 1 month, who is stronger? The second learner, because the brain loves regular practice. The brain builds habits, and habits build results. This is why your daily routine is so powerful, not because it is big, but because it is repeated. Here is a powerful line I want you to remember forever. Small actions done daily create big results over time. Now let me talk about something real. There will be days when you don't feel like learning. Days when you feel tired. Days when your mind says this is not working. Days when you feel slow. Days when you compare yourself with others. This is normal. This is part of the journey. But what you do in those moments decides your future. Most people stop, but strong learners do something different. They reduce the effort, but they don't stop. Instead of doing 15 minutes, they do 5 minutes. Instead of doing everything, they do one small thing. Maybe one sentence, maybe one paragraph, maybe 1 minute of speaking, but they stay connected, and that connection keeps the habit alive. This is the secret. You don't need to be perfect every day. You just need to show up every day. Let me give you a retention moment that can change your mindset. Missing one day is not failure. Stopping completely is. So if you miss a day, don't feel guilty. Just come back, because learning is not about being perfect. It is about being consistent. Now let me tell you something deeper. Motivation is not strong. Motivation feels good, but it disappears quickly. You feel motivated today, but tomorrow you feel tired. So if you depend on motivation, your learning will go up and down. But discipline is different. Discipline is quiet. Discipline is simple. Discipline says, I will do it, even if I don't feel like it. And this is where real growth happens. But don't be scared of this word. Discipline does not mean hard life. Discipline means small daily action. That's it. Now think about your routine again. Watch, repeat, read, connect, speak. Even if it is just for a few minutes, even if it is not perfect, do it. Because every time you do it, you are telling your brain, this is important, and your brain listens. Slowly, your routine becomes a habit. And when it becomes a habit, it becomes easy. You don't think about it, you just do it. And this is where transformation happens. Let me also say something very important. Don't compare your journey with others. Some people learn fast. Some people learn slow. But speed is not important. Direction is important. If you are moving forward, you are winning, even if it feels slow, because slow progress is still progress, and stopping is the only real failure. Now imagine yourself after 3 months of consistency. Not perfect, but consistent. You speak more. You understand more. You feel less fear. You feel more control. And the best part is, you trust yourself, because you know you don't stop. And that trust is powerful. It is stronger than any method, stronger than any book, stronger than any video, because now you believe in your own process. And when you believe, you continue. And when you continue, you improve. In the next and final chapter, we will bring everything together. Books, videos, your brain, your routine, your life. And you will see clearly, not just how to learn English, but how to become a person who never stops growing. Now tell me, will you stay consistent? Chapter 11. You don't choose a tool. You become the learner. Now we arrive at the final moment of this journey, and something inside you is already different. You are not the same person who started this video. Before you were asking, books or videos, which is better? You were searching for one answer, one method, one perfect way. But now, you see more clearly. You understand something deeper. You understand that tools do not change your life. You change your life. Books did not fail you. Videos did not fail you. You just did not have a system. You just did not understand your brain. You just did not use the tools in the right way. But now, you do. And this is powerful. Because now, you are not dependent on one method. You are not confused. You are not jumping from one thing to another. You are calm. You are clear. You are in control. Let me say something that can stay with you forever. You don't become fluent by finding the best tool. You become fluent by becoming a better learner. And this is who you are becoming. A better learner. A smarter learner. A consistent learner. Now look at everything you have built in this journey. You understand that videos help you feel English. They give you sound, emotion, and flow. You understand that books help you build English. They give you structure, clarity, and depth. You understand your brain. You know it needs connection, repetition, and use. You understand your routine. Watch, repeat, read, connect, speak. You understand your fear. You don't run from it anymore. You use it to grow. You understand thinking in English. You are starting to feel the language, not just translate it. You understand your daily life. You are turning it into your classroom. You understand consistency. You know small daily action is more powerful than big effort once. Now ask yourself, what is missing? Nothing. You already have everything you need. This is the moment where your journey becomes simple. Not easy, but simple. Because now, you don't need to search for answers anymore. You just need to follow your system, day by day, step by step, sentence by sentence. And slowly, something beautiful will happen. English will stop feeling like a subject. It will stop feeling like a problem. It will start feeling like a part of you. You will speak, and it will feel natural. You will listen, and it will feel clear. You will think, and it will feel easy. Not because you became perfect, but because you became consistent. Here is a powerful retention moment for your heart. You are closer than you think, but only if you don't stop. Many people quit when they are just one step away from change. Don't be that person. Stay. Continue. Trust the process. Because everything you are doing is building something inside you. Even if you don't see it today, even if you don't feel it tomorrow, it is growing. And one day, you will speak a sentence, and you will feel proud. One day, you will understand something without thinking. One day, you will realize, I am not the same person anymore. And that moment, that quiet realization, is worth everything. So don't rush, don't compare, Don't doubt yourself. Just continue. Because now, you are not just learning English. You are becoming someone who never stops learning. And that is your real power. Now your journey is not about books or videos. It is about you. And you are ready. Now tell me, will you keep going? Thank you for staying with me until the end of this journey. You didn't just watch this video. You understood something deeper about yourself. Remember, it's not about choosing books or videos. It's about choosing to grow every day. Subscribe for more motivational audiobooks and stories in easy English. Share this video with someone who needs it. Save this for a time when you feel lost or tired.